No.
Oh, but we're live here.
Hello, everyone. Hey,
everybody. So we've got 2 cameras going right now. Wayne's got one set up. I have one set up. So please forgive our, watching
duel.
both. It's the first time we're doing this. And, bear with us on this.
Feel free to laugh at us.
Feel free to laugh. Feel free to type in laughing. Oh, that's going to have to. And then we've got someone watching in the background here. TJ is with us as well, but just not on screen.
He's doing funny things. Hey, Amy.
Oh, hey, Andy. What's going on? And we're getting a note from Facebook that this is our most liked video yet, which is awesome because it's the first one ever.
Yeah.
So
we've set the bar low.
We have.
We've had some wine.
So this is going to be hopefully a weekly series that we're doing to help further educate home buyers, home sellers, our clients, whoever else might be tuning in about the real estate process. A really good forum to just ask your questions, whatever you might, have questions about. And, my phone's ringing in the background, which is really awkward. So,
that's how popular it is. She's a busy real estate agent.
I'm a busy real estate agent. Yeah, I am.
Someone needs her right now.
Clearly. Hopefully someone's not calling in a question because I won't be answering. So text it in.
Steve Nixon's on too.
Oh, hey Steve, what's going on? Renee, Carl.
We've actually got an audience, so.
We do have an audience, so now we've got to make it good. We were hoping no one would be tuning in. We could just, sponsor this later as an ad and hopefully people would watch. So the thing we were going to talk about today was what you need to do to first get ready for home buying. That would be the first step.
Yep. So did you make a New Year's resolution, everybody? You're going to buy a house this year?
Hashtag 2017 is your year for buying a house.
Yes.
It's a really long hashtag.
So Jenny.
Yes.
You're going to buy a house.
I'm going to buy a house.
What's the first thing you should probably do before you go out searching on the web?
I feel like that's a question I get a lot. I feel like my clients or people who might start, thinking about looking is they don't know where to start, right? So we've got about 8 ideas of where you should start with that. And Wayne, what do you think would be the number one? I don't know.
I think first you have to talk to your lender. Am I right, Steve Nixon? I see you out there. So you've got to talk to a lender. You got to get pre-approved. So many people go online and start looking at houses, and that's fun and it's fine, and we all do that. So, but before you really get serious about your search, you really need to talk to a lender and find out how much house can I afford.
That's a big thing. Yeah. There's other things too, like what's my debt to income ratio? Can I even buy at this point? There's a lot of questions, and typically when I'm having a conversation with someone new, a new client or old client or whatever it might be, that's always going to be the questions they're asking. How much house can I afford? What's my payment going to be if it's a $200,000 house? What's my payment going to be if it's a $150,000 house? There's a lot of variables in there.
Right.
So that's where I usually start the conversation. Let's get in touch with the lender. Let's see, what they say. They're going to be the ultimate say in what your lending's going to be.
Right.
If you can get lending.
And if you have marginal credit or you feel like your credit's not where you want it to be, don't let that scare you. A lot of people, I think, feel intimidated by going and talking to a bank, and they know the bank's going to run their credit report, and it gives them anxiety. The lender, your realtor, whoever you're working with, they're there to help you, right? If your credit isn't where it needs to be, then they're going to tell you what you need to do to get there. You may be able to afford a house with where your credit is.
Right. Lots of different programs, lots of different credit scores qualify for. So it's all over the place. But the biggest thing too is there's no obligation to have these conversations. Just because you're talking to a lender, just because you're talking to an agent, doesn't mean you're going to be tied in and you have to do anything at this time. There's, we work on your timeline. So whenever you're ready, whenever that might happen, just having that conversation, the hashtag, let's have that conversation thing. That's really what it is. Just open the questions, start with them. Let's see what's going on.
And this is a no judgment zone. I think people think all the time when we're talking to them that, because, their credit score is this or their, income is this, I don't necessarily even know that about my clients. Usually, if they want to tell me and I can help try to qualify someone, or at least determine based on general parameters how much house you might be able to afford.
Right.
When the rubber meets the road, though, those are the things that you should be talking about, and your lender's going to see eventually, and they're going to be the ones that's going to determine whether or not you can actually get the loan. So, and again, just because you apply or you talk to one of us, if this works out and you end up buying something, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
If not, we're here for when the time is right. So
yeah, we're just here to help, to answer those questions and see, are you ready? I mean, is it even something that you are prepared to do? That you want to do? I mean, people say, oh, buying a house is the best thing. Maybe you're not ready for that yet. Maybe, so let's have that talk. Let's see where you're at. Let's see if it's the great thing that, for you that everyone says it's going to be. Investment purposes.
So you go talk to a lender.
Yeah.
And,
I do. I'm talking to a lender.
You're thinking about it. You got the juices flowing.
Yes.
How much money will someone need to buy a house?
Okay. Again, there's a lot of variables with that. We've got closing costs, which is what the lender charges you to get the loan because it costs money to borrow money. Then you've got your down payment. And again, there's a lot of different programs for lending. You've got 3.5% you can put down. You've got 3%, right?
Yep.
You've got 5%. I mean, it is all over the place with the down payment up to 20% or more. I mean, so that too, conversation with the lender, conversation with us. Let's talk about it. There are some lenders that have even lower than that for down payment programs.
I mean, we know programs where it's as little as $500. And if you're active military or a veteran, there's no money down programs.
Right.
So
VA programs, excellent.
Like Jenny said, it all depends on your situation. It could be no money down. It could be 500. It could be 3%. It could be 3.5%. Obviously, the more you put down, the lower your payment's going to be.
Yes.
Which for a lot of people is very important.
Right.
I mean, that's what's going to factor into how much you can afford on a monthly basis. So, it's all a part of it. So those are, again, like Jenny said, conversations to have with us and with your lender. So
you're getting a phone call now.
Yeah, no. It's funny
See how
the
busy
phone,
we are.
It's funny how the phone doesn't
Only when
ring.
you're live.
Yeah.
So one of the next steps too that we have listed here is how do you find the right lender? You've got to shop around for the right lender. Different banks have different programs, different interest rates. We work with different people. You don't have to work with anyone we suggest. You can come to the table with someone that has been referred to you from a friend, family, whoever. It's a bank you bank at. Everyone's got different programs. I don't know. I usually suggest talking to more than one person.
Absolutely.
You've got to find who's got the best program for you, who's got the best rate for you. Do they have first-time homebuyer programs? Do they have other things that are enticing? So that, again, no obligation. Just because you talk to one person doesn't mean you have to go with that bank or that lender or that person or that agent, quite frankly.
Yeah, and even if you apply with one lender and then you decide, okay, now maybe this isn't the right person, so I'm going to look at applying with a different lender. As long as you do that within 30 days, it's not going to be a huge hit on your credit score. I think one of the lenders out there, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's probably 5 points off your score for a hard credit pull. But if you do it within 30 days, the credit agencies understand that you're applying for a home loan and that you're shopping around. So I usually like to, with the lender, when I bought my own house, I lay my finances. I know pretty well what's going on with, my finances, and I lay it on the line. And then have them tell me, based on what I'm telling them, what I'm asking. So, you don't always have to have them pull your credit, but be candid, because, an important thing to know, and I've had a couple situations with clients where they aren't being as forthright with information.
Sure.
So when you get into the underwriting process, trust me, it's going to come up. So starting in the beginning and not lying to yourself, most importantly, or not being completely truthful with the people you're working with, can save yourself a lot of headache, somewhere down the road. So just don't don't make assumptions. Well, they'll never know about that. Well, I'm afraid they probably will. So,
again, no judgment zone.
Right.
It's not anything that anybody's judging you for. You're asking to borrow money. You're asking to buy a house. It's a process. Things come up. Things get found. So, if you're honest to begin with, it's just that much easier.
Yeah, you just make life easier on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Your lender, your realtor, and most importantly, yourself. That's the most important thing, because, a lot of times, and I tell me if you have the same feeling, but buyers come in wide-eyed and excited, in the beginning of the process, and it is a lot of fun. You're going out looking at houses, you're making big decisions, and then reality sets in, and people start to, it's very normal to start feeling stress. Again, don't let these things scare you, but it is just part of it, and it's a very normal feeling, and we're here to help eliminate that stress, to hold stress. And I tell people all the time, I'm as much a psychologist as I am a realtor. I've developed some pretty thick skin in the business, and so let me help you and let me take that burden from you, because
he's a good
it'll
helper.
Make it easier. Well, so
he's a good helper.
And it's not just the wine.
No. No, it's not. He really is. Truly. So one of the other things, too, that I find people ask about is, if I'm paying this much in rent, and then we're going to be adding in, the monthly costs, it's a good thing to identify what your monthly costs are going to be. How much can you afford for a payment? Also figure there's going to be taxes, interest added into that mortgage payment. You're going to have your monthly bills. You've really got to, analyze, what are you spending per month? How much can you afford? Because that's going to come up too. I mean, really, and I don't think as agents, and I'm sure you are not as well, but I'm not that person who, you may be pre-approved up to $300,000, but you're not comfortable with that payment as your payment, plus the taxes, plus the interest, plus everything else. Let's shop where you can afford. Again, it comes down to talking with that lender, figuring out where you're comfortable, but that's definitely something you're going to need to think about prior to shopping.
So, a good piece of advice on that line, I think, is if there's a neighborhood you like, one where there's homes that you've seen that you think to yourself, okay, I wouldn't mind living there. I'd be someplace I'd actually really like to live. Search on the web for the Franklin County Auditor and do a property search, find that house and find a house in that neighborhood and find out what the taxes are.
Yes.
And that's going to give you a decent idea of what your taxes are going to be. So then you just divide that tax amount by 12 and then you add it to whatever mortgage payment. And then really what you're looking for on the web, you're not looking for a mortgage calculator, because a mortgage calculator is all it's going to tell you is how much is your mortgage and how much is your interest.
Right.
And like Jenny said, it's
taxes.
Really your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance. And you'll commonly hear the term PD or PITI, your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. I got slowed down. But yeah, so that's what you're looking for. And that'll give you your total payment, or at least a rough estimate. And then if you've already talked to a lender, tell them where you're looking.
Yeah.
Tell them what houses you're looking at. And then they can give you even a better, more accurate estimate as to what you're looking at, and then you don't have to make as many assumptions, and your realtor can help you with that as well. So
and that's part of it too. I know people sometimes too, part of it, meaning what you were saying about find the area that you like. There are, no matter where you're, obviously we're in Central Ohio. I know I'm seeing some people sign on, and I so want to say, hi, Danielle.
I know.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Shannon, Debbie, Lacey.
We've got two different friends lists going, because we've got Wayne on his and then I'm on mine, and I'm so excited to see some of the people on here that I haven't talked to in a long time. But anyway, Central Ohio, this is obviously where we're at, and there are so many different places to live, and each area in Central Ohio I find has a different flavor, different setting. The downtown areas are different. There's downtown itself. So, and really there's areas where you're going to get a lot more for your money. So you may be surprised at what $100,000 is going to buy somewhere versus somewhere else.
Yep.
East side, west side, north, south, wherever it might be in the city. So again, that's going to be a conversation we can have, and we can open a search in the MLS for you and see, what that is, square footage, areas, whatever it might be. So I don't know. I mean, do you find that people ask about that?
Yeah,
right?
What I tell people always is focus on your lifestyle.
Yes.
So if you like walkability and being able to walk to shops or restaurants, focus on that. Tell your agent that's what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. If school district is important, you have children and you want to keep them in the same schools, talk to your agent about that. If you like a certain area in particular because it's close to other friends or family, but focus on your lifestyle. I find also that when buyers get into this process, they get overwhelmed because there's so many different choices, right? I mean, there's all these different cities, locations,
right?
And they all have different, like you said, vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So focus on what you want your lifestyle to be, and then let's talk about where we can fit that in your life and what would be best for you, because ultimately that's going to be a huge decision, because you're going to probably live in this place for the next 5 to 20, 30 years, so you want to make sure that you're making a smart decision,
hopefully, and
not regret it. So
right, and not every area does have walkability. Not every area has nature preserves. Not every area has shopping, restaurants. So, there are just so many different things to think about when, and I think you bring such a good point to the table. What is it that you like? What do you like doing? What is your lifestyle like? What do you want your lifestyle to be? Let's think about that. And, definitely before you start, I'm sure our area, there are zip codes that are more desirable than others. And that might not be the best fit for you.
Right.
It might be somewhere else.
Yep. And it's all person by person.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got pre-approved.
I'm pre-approved.
You've
found my lender.
You found the lender. You're pre-approved.
Yes.
You've identified your budget. You know about how much you can afford per month.
Mm-hmm.
You've decided on an area.
I have.
And you've got a wish list, right? Everybody has their wish list.
Right.
And usually the wish list ends up, there's a spit in the screen like this big, and then it gets pared down.
The more you see, it's easier. Yeah. When we're talking for the first time and setting up that search for you in the MLS, I would just suggest to you, have that wish list maybe not be so big. Let's just look for maybe a house with 3 bedrooms minimum, 2 bathrooms minimum. The more parameters we put on that search, the less there's going to be to find. I want a ranch house. Okay, but would you be open to a 2-story?
Right.
Because there are more of those than 1 story. So there's a lot of those wish lists. Sometimes can be more limiting.
Well, and I think you have to hone in on what you absolutely are not willing to be flexible on. Right.
Yes.
So if schools are important and
let's identify
you want
that.
to be in certain school district, then we set that as a definite parameter.
Right.
If we know you're pre-approved for X amount of dollars, we're going to set that as your upper end parameter. TJ's sliding the warm wine.
It's Wine Wednesday. Did we tell you that?
So find out what those things are that you can't be flexible on, because ultimately, if you're spending $10,000 or you're spending $10 million, at some point there's flexibility in this. There is no ideal home, and I think people get locked into that concept of an ideal home, end up being the most frustrated at the end of this process.
And I would also say that's not to say to settle either.
Absolutely.
This is the biggest investment you're going to make likely. So you don't want to settle. I don't want you to settle. Wayne doesn't want you to settle. No agent wants you to settle, I would hope. But, so I would also suggest to you to consider the climate of the market we have. Getting another phone call. Phone is ringing off the hook.
It's only slightly distracting. I see now why you're in a
lost my train of thought.
Turn your phone off. No, but so absolutely, and when your agent tells you one thing and you're expecting another thing, it's not because we're discouraging you. I mean, we want. Look, it doesn't do me any good to sell you something that you don't want, because ultimately at the end of the day, our business is a relationship business.
Right.
And if you walk away feeling unhappy because something I said or something I did, or you felt like I was pushing you in a direction, then what good did that do you? What good did it do me? Because you're sure as heck not gonna stick with me,
right?
And you're not gonna, talk to me about your friends and your family in a good way, and that's not what I want, and I don't think that's what any of us want, And
I think honesty is the best. I mean, if you're having an issue with something that's being brought to the table, homes maybe that you're not seeing that you like, that fit exactly what you want, let us know.
So on that note,
yes.
I mean, inventory, big problem right now.
Okay, so yesterday I polled, or a couple days ago, and posted it on Facebook if anybody saw it. Right now we have 4,400 homes active. That's everything. That is condos. That is single family. That is everything.
And
HUD
that's in
homes,
like 12
distressed
counties.
properties.
I mean, we're talking about 12 counties.
We're talking about the state of Ohio. We do not just poll in the MLS Central Ohio. It is not just, Franklin County and everything surrounding it. It is, there were 3 in Sandusky, which is in the Cleveland area. There was 1 in Cincinnati. So,
So, for a buyer, I mean, what that means is, all right, so let's talk about where you're searching online. Realtor.com. Is your go-to resource. Okay, so hopefully no one from Trulia or Zillow has tuned in here. I'm sorry, but the truth is the truth. Trulia and Zillow, people get frustrated with Realtor.com because they don't find what they want.
Right.
So they go searching everywhere else.
Trulia.
Because it's
Zillow.
going to they think it's going to turn up these listings that no one's telling them about elsewhere. Well, the truth about Trulia and Zillow is it really is a marketing tool for agents, and they're pulling listings.
They want to sell us advertising.
Yeah, seriously, and expensive advertising. For whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole other story. So
next installment.
Yeah. But in any case, the point is their data is not always reliable.
Right.
They have listings on there that are supposedly for sale or pre-foreclosure, which everybody loves to hear because they think they're going to get a discount on it. But when you really search into the history of those properties, a lot of times you'll find the foreclosure happened years ago.
Right.
It's sold 2 times since then. So the data just is not reliable. Realtor.com is pulling from the MLS, which is the same resource we use. So, you almost have the same resources at your fingertips that we have at ours.
However, I have a client currently that is pulling from that, and they are finding properties that are shown as active, and they're not. They're in contract. So, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a data update
Yes.
issue there. I mean, everything's happening so
Yeah.
quickly, and agents aren't necessarily updating their listings as fast as maybe we should, because things are just moving at a frenetic pace. So
It's 25/7.
yeah. So work with your agent. Your agent can set up a search tailored exactly to what you're looking for. And they may be kind of sparse. We're also in a bad time of year.
Right.
For the number of homes for sale.
Right.
As these months progress, it's going to start warming up, and people are going to start
Listing.
thinking about what they're going to do.
There's going to be more.
Yeah.
So the lack of inventory, I think the biggest point that we would like to make is currently the last 3 years have been sellers markets. And what that means is there's just not enough homes for buyers. And it has, what we're saying is if you're not seeing exactly what it is you want, where you want it, that's the reason. I mean, it's just the inventory is really low right now. So your wish list may, at this point, have to be a little bit expanded, or would that be limited?
A little more.
Are we expanding the wish list?
Yeah, you'd have to
Opening up the wish list.
Well, you'd have to be more flexible.
Yeah, a little bit more flexible. But again, not settling.
Yeah, don't settle.
No.
Now, there are other options out there. I mean, there are new builds.
Yes.
New builds are a popular option now, because if you're not finding it in the MLS, or you're not finding it in an available search,
Right.
It is possible to build. And a lot of times we hear from people, well, I don't need an agent for that. Well, let me tell you,
You do.
it
helps.
I've had really good building experiences, and I'm not going to name names, and I've had some really bad ones. And let me tell you, when you have the bad ones, you really need someone to be the intermediator,
yeah,
or whatever that word
the mediator.
is. The mediator, yes.
The go-between.
Yes. Because it's such an emotional process, you need someone that's going to remove those emotions.
Yeah.
And your agent is there as your advocate and to help you through this. We've been through the process. We also know when you're picking out your options and they hand you a 7-page list of possible options, and you started out at a house at $300,000, and then you get to your 7-page list, and that $300,000 house is now $450,000. We know how to help you manage what are the smartest and most resaleable, if you will, features in that house, so that you're not just going in and throwing money into this house and you're never going to get it back.
Right.
And I mean, ultimately you're making an investment. I mean, would you throw money into your 401k and not know what you're putting it into? I mean, would you not understand what your investment is? So a house, most people are spending more on their house than what they've got in their retirement.
Right.
So think of it as an investment.
Most people are going to use their house as their retirement. I mean, we've run into that too.
Yeah. So anyway,
so to recap.
Yes.
Shall we?
Yes, let's do.
Okay.
Number one.
We've got the list here, so we're just going to read it off, right?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, all right. Number 1, get your financial house in order. Right?
Understand how much money you owe. If you have debts, if you want to pay your debts down.
Right.
How much house you could possibly afford. All of that's going to play into it. So that's number 1. Get your financial house in order.
Number 2, start saving money if you don't have those funds for closing set aside.
Yes.
Down payments, again, depends on the lender. Majority, 3%, 5%, up 20% and beyond. 20% is a lot of money to be saving. You don't have to. You don't have to do it.
Yep. The more you have, obviously, the better.
Yes.
But,
right.
Talk
a lot of factors there.
If you get to a point you're comfortable, you want to move forward, the important thing to know is start talking to people at that point.
So, hi, Debbie.
All right. So you've got your financial house in order.
Yes.
You've saved your money.
Yes. Now we can help guide you to find the best lender for you. Let's talk about who you've talked to. Let's talk about what your payment is. Let's talk about that interest rate. Let's figure that out. I mean, we can help you with that. It's a gut feeling sometimes. That'll be the next step. Lender.
Yep.
Getting pre-approved.
Yes. And in that process, talk to your agent.
Right.
Find an agent, find a good agent, not just someone in the
agent.
family that's an
Either
agent
me
that does this.
Or him.
Yes.
Or TJ.
Yes, or TJ.
Or any of the agents at 43.
Yes. But in all seriousness, a good agent, somebody that knows the market and is going to be there for you.
Right.
So, I think I pointed alternate, but anyways. So you've got your agent, and then also talk to your friends and family.
Right.
Who have they used for their agent, who they've used for their lender. Social media is a very valuable tool.
Yes.
When it comes to
post the question out there.
Things out.
Who did you use? Who do you like?
Facebook has the recommendations tool. Use it. So.
Use it. All right, so then probably after getting pre-approved, after getting the lender, let's figure out what those monthly costs and our budget's going to be, because you get pre-approved for a range, you get pre-approved up to a top point, but where are you comfortable in there?
Yep.
What's that payment going to be with taxes? Again, Wayne brought up auditor's site. Look up some houses in the area you're interested in. What is the tax range? When we're looking at the MLS, we can find the taxes for the house that might be of interest, and we can figure that out. You divide it by 12. There it is.
And that all factors into the payment. So now's the time. Now's the time when you start. You've done all those things.
Yes.
Now's the time to start your search in earnest. And to be quite honest, if you've already got these things in order, this is the absolute best time of year.
Yes.
Because the competition is lower, the market is less in activity right now. So now is the time to start looking. If you wait till the weather turns when everybody gets out, if the market's been like it's been the last few years, it can be very competitive and very frustrating.
It's tough.
So,
multi-offer situations, the whole thing. But we can talk about that next week.
So next week we are going to talk more about that.
Yeah.
So I don't think we could really talk much more about this without boring people to tears.
I don't either. TJ, anything you think we should cover? Any questions?
TJ's
Anyone
over there
watching
almost
that
the
has a
word.
question? Want to
Haven't
throw
seen
something
any
out here
come
for us
across.
to talk about? I know we're really
Greg,
enjoyable
Laura,
to watch.
Dina, Shannon, Anna.
Can
Michael.
someone love this so I can see a heart float by?
I'm seeing the thumbs.
I see some thumbs, lots of thumbs. Hey Trish, can I get a heart? Not a thumb?
Here, wait, I got this.
Bam! There it is, Sarah. And another one. Thank
That
you.
was me.
Thank
I'm
you.
saying no.
All right. So here's the thing. Here's the deal. Wayne and I are planning on this being a weekly thing. Every Wednesday, we'll figure out a great time. If this, works, good. If not, we'll figure out a noon time, lunchtime, whatever it might be.
And we'll save these videos and post them. Then that way you can fast forward through our crazy.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. Right. First time run here. We had a plan. I don't know if we stayed on it. We'll see. This was just about first steps, getting into the game and what that might be.
Well, I just want to say thanks for everybody that tuned in, and we really appreciate it. And obviously, if we can help you in any way, we're here for you at any time.
We'll see you next week.
All right, thanks so much, everybody.
See ya.
Enjoy your day.
See ya.
Bye.